Hello everyone, I am finally back with another video. Today I'm going to replace the brakes in my 2002 Porsche Boxster. We're going to replace both the rear and the front, but in the interest of time I'm only going to film one side. We're then going to bleed the brake fluid. I'm going to start the video by showing you the replacement parts we're going to use, the tools we're going to use, and then we're going to get started. Here we have the Bosch Quiet Cast rotors, 2 for the rear and 2 for the front. We have our brake pads, our brake wear indicator, and some additional screws. Now let's go through the list of tools. Here are the tools you're going to need, starting right to left. You have your needle nose pliers, your channel lock pliers, a hammer, an 11mm 6-point socket, an 11mm wrench, a 10mm hex head, a 10mm Allen wrench, a Phillips head screwdriver, a torque wrench with a 19mm socket, various punches for removing pins. We have some zip ties, and then over here is the power bleeder. And in the back, we have the brake fluid. A couple of quick things before we get started. We have 2 sets of brake pads here. The EUR 737, that is for the front. 738 is for the rear. Moving over here on the brake wear indicator. The number ending in 231, that is for the front. And the number ending in 261, that is for the rear. So here we have the rear wheel off. See the car is jacked up. We have the rotor here, the caliper here, where the brake pads are located. We're going to start by removing the brake pads. We're going to start by removing this pin right here with the pliers. All right, so here it is. Just pull it straight out. All right, so we're going to hold on to that because we are going to reuse it. So I'm going to use this punch to push the pin through. And then we're also going to have to hold down the clip here while I'm pushing that through. I'm going to have my husband help me because I'm holding the camera on the other hand. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to use a screwdriver to push the pistons back into the caliper. All right, so here are the brake pads. Now I have to disconnect the brake wear sensor. Take your pliers, you're gonna pull down here to remove it. Okay, it's disconnected. Next, you're going to take a 10mm Allen wrench. You're going to loosen the bolts here and here. Okay, you're going to use a 10mm socket to now loosen the bolt to the brake hard line. All right, I'm going to finish by hand loosening the 2 bolts now. And just keep in mind when these are fully loose, this is going to want to drop. The caliper is going to want to drop. Just be careful because it is still attached to the line. All right. Okay, so we're going to set this over here for right now. If you're worried about it dropping, you can also zip tie it in place. All right, so here we have our rotor fully exposed. Next, we're going to remove the rotor. Now we're going to loosen the retaining screws here and here with a Phillips head. All right, there we go. Oh yes, it's coming loose. All right, gonna remove this. All right, here we are. And I can see a lip here. You can see where these have some decent wear. So it's a good thing we're replacing them. All right, now that we're in here, here are the shoes for the emergency brake. And you'll see on the inside of the rotor, on the new one, we'll show you in a moment, there's a ridge that accommodates your e-brake. We are gonna brush this out since we're in here because there is some dirt in here. And since the shoes look like they're in decent shape, we are not gonna replace them at this point. So the brake shoes that are here are gonna go into this lip, this first one right here. And then we're gonna look at the orientation, and that's gonna help us determine how we're gonna put this rotor on. So let's do that now. These two screw holes have to line up with these two here. Rotate it just a little bit, but it is in line. So now I'm gonna replace the screws. You may wanna put some anti-seize on these screws, just so in the future when you have to replace it, your brakes will make it easy to remove them. And we're gonna do it to the first one I put in because I forgot to do it. So now we're gonna tighten these. You wanna tighten these snugly, but you don't need to over tighten to the point where you literally can't get them off later. A little excess of this, I am just gonna wipe it on the outside here, like that. And now we can put the caliper back on. All right, we're gonna put the bolts back in, start at the top. So I'm going to finish tightening these with the Allen wrench, and ultimately you're going to tighten them to 63 foot-pounds. Next, I'm going to have to put back in the brake line bracket bolt. All right, it's hard to show it when you're tightening it because your hand's in the way, but there it is there. We have our brake pads here, ready to go in. This side is in. And now we're gonna put our retaining clip back in. And we gotta put the rod back in. All right, I'm gonna need a second hand here to put that in because I guess someone's gotta press this down at the same time. Note the orientation of the hole on the pin right there. You see it's facing out. Okay. All right, see the hole there? The clip needs to go back in there.
Oh, there it goes.
All right, next we're gonna put in the brake pad wear sensor. Do my best to show this. Kind of a tight spot here.
So this goes in here. Like that. And this goes around the bottom. I believe like that. And this has got to go in here. This, that, and then you follow this around. Like that, right? Then there's that thing that just metal thing it goes into. Goes around your sway bar. Plugs in there. Push it in like that. And push this clip back down and lock it.
So the new brakes are on. Next, we need to bleed the brakes. Okay, there's 2 bleeders. There's one in the front, one in the back. We're gonna start with the front. All right, so next you're gonna take an 11mm socket to loosen the bleeders.
Yep. Okay, that one. Loosen. That one loosened. All right, we're gonna bleed the brakes. So I got these slightly loose, but I'm gonna loosen it here with the wrench. Got a tube. We're gonna use a power bleeder up front, which we'll show you. The old fluid, the fluid that's in here is blue, and the new fluid is like a light, clearish yellow. So as soon as we see the color change, we'll assume that the fluid's been flushed and it's fresh. So let me crack this open.
And that's a state-of-the-art
That's a
Tupperware container.
Yep. Went all
So
that.
fancy.
No expense spared. Now we gotta hit we're gonna have to prime this up or put pressure to the. So we're taking about 5 psi or so. And we should start to see fluid come out.
All right, good.
Yeah, it's changing color. All right.
All right, so you have to drain both sides.
There's not much to bleed on this side because it's already changing color.
Okay, good.
Yep. Let's call that one a day.
All right, then you tighten the bleeder.
Tighten the bleeder.
And in case I didn't show it, he tightened the one in the front as well. So now they're both tightened.
Both snug. Clean up any brake fluid. Put the caps back on.
All right, caps are going back on. All right, so now we're gonna put the wheel back on and tackle the front. All right, now we're taking the front wheel off. We're gonna have to roll through this one because my camera is, the battery is getting low. So what we're gonna do, my husband is going to replace the brakes while I film, and that will get this done much more quickly.
First we're gonna loosen the caliper bolts, right? Big
Yep,
bolts.
loosening the caliper bolts.
Ugh. Use my big wrench. Loose. Loose. Okay. Now we're gonna take the pads out.
All right, removing the pin.
And the pin.
All right, save that for later.
Push the shaft out. Take this out. Now what I'm going to do on this side too is a screwdriver. Since we're going to be placing these pads and everything, I'm going to go in here, try to fit the screwdriver between, and push the pistons back. Let me get this clip out. See if I can get this clip out first. Keeping me from getting in there.
What is it you're doing here?
I was trying to, I have to use something else to try to push the pistons out with that. Using the pad and the caliper. These pads are pretty,
Woo!
a little more worn.
Look at that. Yep, good thing we're replacing them. We had a date on the other ones, right?
Yeah,
The ones that were
2013.
2013. They were last replaced.
Here, I'm gonna take this out. Take this caliper off. Okay, that's off. There goes the pads.
Okay.
Sit there.
All right, so you've now zip tied.
This is the caliper zip tie off to the side. So now you get the rotor off. Oh, that one went loose.
So replacing brakes, it's not even that it's that hard. Obviously, there are some steps to it, but I think what makes it difficult is when you just can't get a screw loose.
Yeah. These have been stripped out, see?
Yeah, whoever previously did this strip.
These should be replaced.
So we're gonna replace those. We do have replacement screws for these, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thought so.
Oh, thank God. That was a miracle. Oh, wow. Right in my knee.
Oh yeah, you can see a lip here.
Not as bad as the
Yeah,
backs.
I mean, you got wear, but it's,
Yeah, there's definitely a lip though. These maybe will be turned, but I don't
so
know.
that's the back and this is the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they maybe will be turned, but I don't think so.
All right, new rotor going back on.
Align the screw holes. Keep it a little loose. I'll put the other one in. Okay, snug them. Snug them. I'm just gonna put a little bit on the fronts here, so. Hopefully someday in the future somebody can take this off. You gotta cut this and hold this. Get this out of here so it doesn't become a problem later.
All right, so again, these bolts ultimately need to be tightened to 63 foot-pounds.
Ew.
Or the old ones.
I'm gonna have to push this piston further. The pistons are in. Now I get the pads in there. See that?
Okay, good.
I'm gonna shut these off for now. So push it down. Get the pin oriented the right way. Okay.
Pins in. Putting in the new sensor.
Then it goes like this. This goes around like this, and the clip It's tight. And it comes around here, I believe, like that. It goes around here. So it goes into here. So it plugs back into that.
Okay. That little screw in the back again.
Okay, tight.
All right, and then it would be the official bleeding of the brakes, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then we'd be done.
Well, we have now successfully replaced all 4 brakes. We took it for a test drive, and the brake pedal feels much more firm and secure. It's interesting because I had noticed that the brake pedal has started to get a little bit soft. I felt some coarseness, but over time, I just sort of acclimated and adjusted to it. Now that the brakes have been replaced, the brake lines have been flushed, the brake pedal feels so much more firm, secure, and the coarseness is now gone. In terms of the cost of this job, the replacement parts were about $500. I don't know what it would cost to have a mechanic do this job, but I would imagine it would be quite expensive. So if this is something that you'd be comfortable doing, you would save yourself a lot of money. Well, I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.